see.
So now I just wanted to tag you guys in it so that people who are watching know who's talking per se, and they can go right to your page, add you as a friend, whatever else.
Okay.
So it's live on Facebook now, so you should be able to swing over. Let me know if you guys were able to jump on Facebook to share.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook now.
Waiting for it to pop up.
If it's not showing on my page yet.
Yeah, I see it on your page.
Okay.
It's just swirling for me. Might just be me though. Oh, there we go. Is it on your personal page or your force building?
It should have shared to my personal page.
Okay.
My personal page has more. Yeah, my personal page. My personal page has more followers than my company page so far.
I don't see it. Oh, there we are. Nope, that's it. That's you and somebody else yesterday or the other day.
Should be right at the top. Did you get a notification I tagged you on something? Because I did tag you, and then maybe it gave you a notification.
I was looking for it. Let me see. Yep, it is. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
There it is. It's on me.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It takes a little bit to get set up, but once it's set up, then we get there's going to be so many people who can join us. So we already got a couple live watchers on Facebook right now, and I'm going to let the others into the room. You guys all set?
Mm-hmm.
You guys good, Kim and Johvan? Okay.
Yep. I'm just sharing the pages. That's all. So I'm all good.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're just getting everybody in the room. All right, so we'll go ahead and allow people to join as they come along. Let's see. We'll be here for a little while. For those who are watching, my name is Rick Francis. I'm the owner and lead inspector at Foresight Building Inspections. I bought my first house when I was 19, and I've owned and managed properties in the Milwaukee area since then. I've worked in a number of different capacities, but again, right now I'm a home inspector. I know a lot about real estate as a whole, and a lot of people look to me as a resource in real estate. But again, my point of emphasis is home inspections. And so I wanted to take the time out to let some of my partners be even more of a resource to you guys. A lot of people reach out to me about buying a home. And so I have guests, Kimberly McCloud. She works with Associated Bank. She's, in my opinion, an asset to the community in that she just wants to get information to her people. And it's not everything is a sale for her. She certainly likes to make sure she can get her clients to close on homes with her. But she wants to make sure she can get information out. And that's why it was really important for me to bring her on. Johvan Holmes is going to be our other guest. He's going to start things off for us today. Part of the reason he's going to start things off is because he is a credit repair specialist. He's also a real estate agent. So he's an individual who, for a lot of you right now, you're going to be, the starting place is going to be either correcting or building your credit. And right now during the quarantine is the best time to start that. I've said, don't leave out of the quarantine in a worse situation than when you came into it. Leave out better. It's the best time to get things together. And both Kimberly and Johvan are going to be resources to help you on that path. And again, Johvan with the credit repairing, that credit building, he can help you out with. He's going to be a great resource for that. And then again, once you're at that point where you say, hey, me and Johvan have worked together. We've built my credit up. Now it's time to go to Kim. Kim helps with my pre-approval. You go back to Johvan. Johvan will help you find a house. And then I come in and I go through all the different systems in the house and make sure it's going to be a safe investment. Educate you about what you're buying as a home inspector. And I'll always be a resource going forward. Maybe at the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit more about what I do, but I want to make sure we hit the things that are most critical, which is a starting point, getting your credit going, making sure that your finances are in order. So Johvan, did you want to go ahead and take over from here?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm all ready to go. Good. I'm sorry. My phone is not tripping.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Hope all is well. As Rick said, my name is Johvan Holmes, and my goal today is to educate you guys on what it takes to get you pre-approved for a mortgage from a credit standpoint. And then I'm also going to educate you guys on the home buying process. There's a lot of things that go into it. A lot of people from time to time, they get overwhelmed with it. But I promise you, when you got professionals behind you, when you got the right people behind you, the right amount of support, that it can just go by so easy. I've had deals where things were complicated, and I have deals that went smoothly. The one thing I've always had that's consistent is, like I said, good people behind me. And so as long as you got good people behind you that's educated and that can educate you on the process, we're guaranteed to get the job done. So first off, like Rick said, I'm going to start off on the credit tip. Now I've been a lot of people call me a credit repair specialist. I like to call myself a credit educator. I just like to be resourceful and give people as much information as possible, give them the opportunity to choose their direction on what they're going to do to increase their credit score once they have the education needed. Now, I'm actually going to share my screen because, I've been doing this for so long, and the reason why I have been successful at it is because of the information I've come across. And if you can see my screen, when you're talking about credit scores, the first thing I do is I go to myfico.com. What is FICO? FICO Fair Isaac Company, right? These are the people who created the credit scoring system. Okay, so the first thing when it comes to credit is understanding the history, the background of it. We see credit scores, we hear about credit reports, we hear about all the different things that comes along with credit, but we don't know the inventors of it. And so in order to go back to figure out, okay, how are we going to fix this? We need to go back to the people that started it, and we need to find out what do they say about credit. And when it comes to repairing your credit, the first thing I say people should do is focus on what it takes to make a credit score. Okay, growing up, at least in my household, I've always heard when it comes to credit, number one, you heard to either stay away from it. You heard that, credit will mess you up. Don't get credit cards. Don't get stuff in your name. Don't just be giving stuff out, applying for anything. I heard a lot of different myths growing up about credit. I also heard that if you want to have good credit or that if you think you got good credit, mainly it's because you just paid your bills on time. Well, what we got to understand when we're talking about building credit from the beginning or even restarting so that we can restore our credit is we got to understand the 5 factors of what builds a credit score. And I go to FICO.com so that you don't say, well, I listened to Johvan and Johvan said this. I go to myfico.com for credibility because, like I said, I'm going to the inventors. And so there's 5 components that go into building a credit score. And the biggest one is the most common one that we hear, which is pay your bills on time. We always hear, hey, just pay your bills on time. Just pay your bills on time. Pay this, pay that. But that's only one factor of the credit score. Now, it is the biggest factor in what makes a credit score, and that's 35%. So when you think about it, when you have bad credit, a lot of people that I've worked with, they've had bad credit because they have collections, medical bills, charge-offs. Some have bankruptcies, foreclosures, or whatever it may be. If you look at the underlying root of that, at the beginning, it all started with a late payment. It all started with your payment history. It all started with not being able to, or just simply not making a payment on time. So even though it's the biggest part and it's still a small part, it plays that just one seed. What's the old adage? One apple spoils the whole bunch. So this is so important. If we can master how to continue to pay our bills on time, which a lot of people kind of frown up at this, but I support auto pay. This is one way that you're going to keep making payments without having to worry about missing the payment and stuff like that. And just from that, 35% of your score is affected. If you look at a credit score, I believe Rick posted something the other day on his page. If you look at your credit report, you look at your credit score, one of the biggest things that's going to be on there is your payment history. They're going to have a percentage. They're going to show, when you look at your credit report, you're going to see little colors and little dots and things like that. And you're going to say, okay, it's either going to say, okay, you are great with your credit, with your payment history, or you are poor with your payment history. And like I said, that one little seed, once that's planted, that grows into bigger things like collections and stuff like that. So once we master how to continue to make our payments on time from this point on out, even if you have bad credit right now, typically, you want to start with like 6 months of good on-time payment history, and you want to continue that factor. But up until about 3 to 6 months, after you made a late payment, that's when you'll start to see points start to accrue and come back on your credit score. Now, again, we were taught make payments on time, you should have good credit. But if you look at the 5 factors, 35%, that's only 35% of what makes your credit score. So now, if you are taking a test, for those that are in school or were in school or got kids that's in school, if you or your child would have came home with a 35% on their test, are you hanging that picture on the refrigerator, or are you kicking their butts and making them go into the back into the room and to study some more? You might not kick their butts, but you're going to be upset and you're going to push them to do better. And that's what it is by only getting 35% of what builds your credit score. So now you got to go to the next thing. The next biggest factor is you see on my screen is the amounts owed or your debt utilization. This is how I say how you use credit cards. So again, we were taught stay away from credit cards. At least I was taught stay away from credit cards. But then I realized that it was mainly because we weren't taught how to use them. Okay, just like as you see that's 30% of what makes a good credit score. When using a credit card, the old rule is the typical rule of thumb is you don't want to show more than 30% of your limit used on that credit card by the time your statement date rolls around. This is important because when you're working with lenders to buy a house or whatnot, they do something called a DTI check, right? They're checking your debt to income ratio, which is the amount of money you have coming in versus the amount of money you have going out. When you're getting approved for a home, your debt to income is going to, decide whether or not they approve you for a loan, and it's also going to decide how much they're going to approve you for. So the less you owe on that credit card, the better chances you have of getting approved for a loan. But not only that, the higher your credit score will be, because now they're looking at the fact that, okay, you may have this amount in credit cards and you're capable of using this, but you only use a certain amount, which shows you aren't desperate for money. And as long as you're making that on time, you're making that payment that you do owe on time, now you're showing that you're not desperate for money and you're capable of paying people back on time. We trust you, right? That's what credit is all about, being able to trust you. And you can master those two, right? You can master, get you a credit card, and you can master making your credit card payments on time. And you can also master not using more than 30%, which you can use, but not having more than 30% reported in a credit report. But again, if we go back to that analogy or that metaphor of, if we were to get a certain percentage on a test, if you add it up, 35% is payment history, 30% is your amounts owed or your debt utilization, that's only 65%. When I was in high school, 65% was a failing grade. So again, we still got to understand how this thing works, right? You say, well, Johvan, I got a credit card, I'm making my payments on time, now what? Well, one thing people need to understand that is also about how long you're able to do it. So this is 15% of what makes your credit score is your length of credit. How long you've been able to make your payments on time, how long you've had this credit card, and how long you've been able to maintain not reporting over 30% of usage. Okay, so that's why it's important to continue. Even if you do have active credit cards that you may have maxed out, once you pay down that credit card, maybe you pay it off or you just pay it down to 30%, don't close it. Don't close it. Keep it open. You don't have to use it. Just keep it open, because that's going to attribute to your length of history, length of credit history. Now, the last 20%, now that puts you at 80%, which is now you're passing. The more you continue to practice those things, you're going to see a steady increase in your credit score. But if you are a perfectionist, if you are someone who really wants to master what it takes to have a great credit score, you're going to look at the next 20%, right? Which is your new credit, right? Which is could be the inquiries and how often you apply for credit, whatnot. Then you got your credit mix, okay? Your different types of credit, okay? So maybe you got that one credit card, or maybe you got that one auto loan, and you're making payments on time, you're paying off the loan, and you've had it for about a year, 6 months to a year, and you say, okay, Johvan, my credit is at a standstill because I'm making my payments on time, but I'm still here. I still ain't got over yet. Well, that's where 10% or the credit mix, 10%, which is your credit mix, that's where that comes in. You got to be able to show that you're able to handle different accounts, right? I always tell people it's important to have 3 to 5 accounts reporting positive on your credit report at all times. You know, that those accounts could be credit cards, that could be an auto loan, it could be student loans, anything that's just reporting good, right, on your credit report. And the more that you can diversify the different types of credit that you have, then the more that you'll see your credit score increase. And then, of course, with inquiries, it's not bad to inquire or go apply for new credit. But what I typically say is you want to apply for credit when you know you're going to get approved, right? You should have no problem getting approved, and then the inquiries won't be an issue. But the reason why that affects 10% of your score, because you could be someone who frequently applies for credit. Whether or not you get turned down or not, you can see that takes a toll on your credit report or your credit score. And if you get approved, for those that get approved, you may see inquiries on your credit report, but then your inquiries on your credit report will match the positive accounts that you have building your credit score as well. So you don't want to go out applying for different things. Even when you're talking about working with a lender, someone who's going to help you get financing or mortgage approved for your credit, for your home, you don't want to go to 3 or 4 or 5 different lenders, because again, you know, that's going and taking hits on your credit score. And again, you want to go when you know you're going to be approved. And that's the 5 factors. If you can master that, you're already 1/3 of the way there. All right. Now, a lot of times we're talking about repairing our credit. The one common thing that's like popular right now is, you know, using dispute letters or deleting negative items off your credit report. Now, again, I come to FICO.com because I get it from the horse's mouth about what it takes to build a credit score. And if you see on this chart in front of you, you don't see removing negatives. Here's where I'm going with this. Removing negatives, you can build, you can take these 5 factors and work on this from day one, right? And you may never have to renew, you may never have to send a dispute letter. The reason why you would want to remove negatives off your credit reports, and the reason why you would want to dispute things from your credit report, is because sometimes, or at least all of us, at least I do, we all have a past, right? And if we had the opportunity to go back in time and erase some of those things that we did when we were younger, and just those dumb mistakes, or just some of those decisions we made that just led to other things in life that we could have did without, I would take the opportunity to do it. And that's the reason why you work on this, you dispute, or you work on removing negatives off your credit report. So what the dispute process does is they allow you to investigate, right, any account on your credit report, positive and negative, right? However, what we do, what I suggest is you go after the negatives. That could be a collection, that can be a charge off, that can be medical bills, defaulted student loans, bankruptcies, even some public records in some cases. You can dispute to have those removed from your credit report. And what has to happen is the credit agencies, I call them credit agencies, I don't call them bureaus, because bureaus make them seem like they government and all that stuff. They're really just 3 big businesses. I always tell people, don't be afraid of them. It's literally like it's like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, right? All of them sell burgers, all of them sell fries, all of them sell shakes. They just got different names for it, and they got different meals, right? They all got a number menu, a number 1 to a number 12. And you just go to the one that you like the best, right? But if you got a problem, you're not afraid of it. So it's the same thing with the credit agencies. It's so important to look at your credit report. And when you look at your credit report, you have to see what's on there. That's the first step to removing the negative, knowing what's on your credit report. So many people come to me and they say, I need help with my credit. And I say, okay, well, what's on your credit report that's stopping you? And they like, they say to me, they don't know. In some cases, it might not be that they don't know. It might just be that when they go on a credit report, they don't know how to read it, or they see things that they didn't expect to be on there, or they see things that's not on there that they think is on there. So it's important to look at your credit report. And that's the first step when it comes to disputing, knowing what's reporting negative on your report. And so what I like to do is send people to annualcreditreport.com. You go to, and I know a lot of people use Credit Check Total. A lot of people use Credit Karma. A lot of people use Credit Sesame, and they try to do that to look up what the credit report is. I suggest if you're going to be disputing and removing things from your credit report, that you go and pull your credit reports from the official sites. Annualcreditreport.com allows you to do just that. Okay. Once a year, you can go to annualcreditreport.com and you can pull all three of your credit reports: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Once you pull those three, it's going to show you everything that's on your credit profile. Some stuff you're going to see, it may not be yours. Some stuff you're going to see, you're going to say, well, this is too old. Some stuff you're going to see, well, this should have been paid off. Some stuff you're going to see, I didn't even know this was here, right? And that's the reason for the dispute process, okay? So there's two ways that you can dispute. You can dispute one by yourself, right? You can handle it yourself. Literally, guys, like Google is the answer to everything. If you want to find dispute letters and stuff like that, trying to do it yourself, you can literally Google these dispute letters. Now, I can't vouch for them because I haven't used them. I don't know if they work or not, but I have seen reviews. I do know people who have Googled and got stuff and they've used them. They've deleted things from their credit report by using dispute letters on their credit report. Or you can go through a professional. Now, if you go through a professional, you got to expect to pay. Now, the prices vary for different people, but the one thing you want to understand, you want to find when you do work with a professional, is you want to make sure that you're getting educated in the process. I personally, you don't have to take my word for it, I personally don't like working with people without being able to educate them. Because what's the point of removing things from your credit report, not being able to tell you what it takes to build a credit score, and you go out, I increase your credit score, you do the things I tell you, but then in a year from now, you right back in the same position. So you want to work with somebody that's going to educate you, that's going to put you in a position to keep yourself from going back to where you just came. And with the dispute process, once you have those letters, you can dispute all three of the credit agencies at the same time. They have up to 30 days to respond to you. And the thing is, it's lawful, it's legal because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now, this act was put in act back in the 1970s. So it's 2020 now. So many people that I've dealt with, they still don't understand how this works, even though this act was put in 1970s. And the whole key is that the credit agencies have to be able to verify. If they can't verify the things that's being put on your credit report, then by law, they have to remove it. They got 30 days to do so, okay? And anything erroneous, obsolete, anything that's just wrong, or if they just can't verify it, they have to remove it from your credit report. And just by doing that right there, when you already mastering the 5 factors, you're getting you 3 to 5 trade lines or more, you're making your payments on time, utilizing your credit wisely, and then at the same time, you're removing negatives from your credit report. That's going to upset the scales, right? You're going to go from down here, right, with all these negatives in your credit score, as you're building positive credit, right, on your credit score, on your credit report, you're going to start to see things happen like this, right? You're going to start to see more good than you see bad. And that's the whole purpose for disputing and removing things from your credit report. Now, I'm not going to say that disputing is an easy thing. I'm not going to say that disputing is a hard thing. I'm just going to say that you got to put in time and you got to put in effort, and you got to be educated on the process as well. There's a lot of different companies and different resources and tools that try to help you dispute things like that. But initially, what you have to be is you have to be involved. Okay. I do have a company, shameless plug. I do have a company that allows me to do it. And what we do is we dispute all 3 of your credit reports, or all 3, everything report negative on all 3 of your credit reports at the same time. We don't take our time. We don't start with TransUnion and then go to Equifax and then go to Experian. If it's anything reported negative, we have attorneys look over the process, look over what's going on over there on your credit report. and we'll dispute them on all three of them. If needed be, if any legal things need to happen, we have those attorneys that would step in and handle that process for you, and it will be no extra charge to it. And so we typically see results within 30 to 45 days. We always tell clients that, hey, within 3 to 6 months, if you follow what we're telling you, if you adding positives, if you subtracting negatives, and then we're teaching you how to establish and maintain, meaning how to go out and apply, when to go out and apply for a new credit, letting you know, or connecting you with different lenders like Kim, so that you can get approved for a mortgage. We're going to make sure that you're in that right spot so that you can establish and maintain, and so that you don't fall back into that same position. And so that's where I'm going to lead for the credit repair portion of it. And again, you can do it yourself, or you can hire a professional. If you want to get in contact with me, if you have any questions on any of my services and how that in the different resources and tools that I can help you with doing, or help you with doing that, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. My number is 414-213-1278, or you can reach me on Facebook. Just send me a message, and we can talk more about that as well. And Rick, is it okay if I move over to the home buying portion now?
We got a couple questions on Facebook.
Okay.
You want to go ahead? You want to see if we can answer a couple of those?
Okay. Give me a second. Let me see.
And I can read them off to you. I got them lined up.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Read it off to me then.
Okay. So one, the first one, it sounds like someone had a credit card and they didn't utilize that credit card, so the credit card company closed that card out on their own.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm guessing that must have affected their credit negatively, because they're wondering how do they remove that from their credit, from the credit report. And I think you kind of spoke to it a little bit, is just taking the steps to reach out to the credit bureaus directly, correct?
Yeah, definitely. That's what it's all about. No matter what kind of account, if it's a closed credit card account, if it's a closed, cable bill or whatever it may be, if you owe the balance, chances is they're probably going to want you to pay that balance or some of that balance if they don't try to settle. The thing is with disputing, when you are disputing something on your credit report, understand that you're disputing that with the credit agency, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. However, you still may owe that debt to the original debtor, right? I know Capital One, for one. Capital One, when you owe them a debt, they don't sell it to a collection agency. They keep it themselves. And so when you're disputing, you can dispute with the credit agencies to work to have them remove it. Now, is it going to be removed? I don't necessarily know. You're taking that chance, right? There's a possibility that it will, but that's the reason why you dispute, so that you can get that. Another option you can take is going to Capital One or whoever that credit card company would have been and working out something with the debt collector themselves. I know a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't never ever pay a debt collection company. I kind of like halfway agree with that. I feel like it's more so with me though, before you pay it, try to dispute it, right? If you try to dispute it a number of times and it just hasn't worked, go back to that original debt collector and try to work out a settlement or something with them. And when you work out that settlement, make sure one of the things that are in there that they are going to remove from your credit report. If they send you to a debt collector, you do the same thing with the debt collector, right? Find out if they're going to remove it from your credit report upon settlement. If they don't agree to it, then understand the rules of credit. Things on your credit report, I usually say after like 2 years, they become a little obsolete. Remember, the first time that it hits your credit report, that's all the points that it takes. That's all the points that it takes. So if it hits your credit report one time, and it takes those 15 points, and it takes those 15 points. The one thing you can do to counter that, if you don't want to pay that collection off, well, you take that money that you do have or that you would spend to pay that collection off, and you invest that in another line of credit, right? So maybe you have to go get you a secured credit card. Maybe you have to use that money to have your rent reported. Maybe you do something called self-lender, where you actually take that money, you put it into a savings account, and every month it reports on your credit report so that it builds your credit score. Or maybe you just use that money to go pay down some other debt, some other credit cards, or some other things that you have, so that you can continue making payments on time, and that you can offset your bad with your good. Any other questions?
So, and I think, again, this kind of aligns a little bit there. Somebody paid off a debt, and the TransUnion went up, Equifax stayed the same, FICO went down. I guess one piece to that is, why is there such a variance, number one, and then number two, what should they do now? I'm guessing they will go right to the credit agencies, but also, why is there such a variance there in a situation like that?
Because if you remember, well, maybe you may not have heard when I first started, the credit agencies are three different companies,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, right? You might say, how come McDonald's put so much salt on my fries, but Wendy's don't? That's the equivalent to that question. So it's like, okay, well, this happened on TransUnion and my score went up, but this happened on Equifax, or it didn't happen on Equifax, and now my score is still the same. And then you say, well, what's up with FICO? First thing is, you gotta where you're getting your TransUnion and Equifax and Experian score, that matters, right? Because if you're going from Credit Karma, understand that Credit Karma pulls a different type of scoring model, right? They don't pull from FICO, they pull from VanderScore, right? So, and I can go deeper into that, but it'll complicate things. Just know that Credit Karma scoring model is not FICO scoring model.
And is that why the link that you referenced at the beginning of the site, and again, we can circle back around to it, at the beginning of the video, is probably one of the best to utilize?
It's definitely the best to utilize. Again, myfico.com, the best website to get your credit score from, because these are the inventors of the credit score. These are the people who make the credit score. And so, yeah, when you talk about, things that may have been deleted from TransUnion but not deleted from Equifax, you just continue to dispute. That's all you can do. Is you can dispute as many times as you want to. You have that right, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You have that right.
Sure. And one of these questions alludes to the cost of services you provide and people like you. Somebody alluded to, hey, maybe they're being charged more for fighting something on their report with the 3 different bureaus. They're being charged, for each one per se, as opposed to the process that you're referring to that you have, where you're fighting all 3 at the same time. I guess, could you speak to the cost for something like that? Or, if somebody says, hey, Johvan, I want to work with you, again, what the costs are like, what's that? I'm guessing there's some type of consultation there.
Well, yeah. So I do free consultations, right? And I literally give you everything you need. And I will let you know, hey, you can choose to do it this way on your own, or you can choose to work with me. There is a low monthly service fee with me of $89. It's non-contractual. It's pretty much pay as you go. However, we continue to keep the services going as long as you do continue to pay. We send out dispute letters. We give you access to credit monitoring, identity theft protection, and access to attorneys. And then just our process. We're disputing all 3 credit reports at one time, everything negative. I like to tell people, I don't want to, take you for everything you got. But, when we have professionals and everything that's available to us, and the resources we have available to us that we make available to you, it's pretty much everything is going to offset all of those accounts. So that's where that low monthly payment of $89 is at. And if you're somebody who wants to work with me, you want to talk more about it, and you want to see, what makes it worth it, or why the process is actually working and helping, set up a one-on-one consultation. I'll be glad to explain it to you, and I'll show you how, this thing works. And it's, I've been having great success with it myself, and then along with other clients.
Cool. So again, before Johvan moves on to the real estate agent portion of it, again, I want to highlight the whole purpose of what we're doing now is that everything he just talked to, this is the best time to get started with that. A lot of us have more time on our hands. And again, we want to come out of the quarantine better than when we went in. And so everything he just spoke to, there's no reason to wait on that. Right now is the best time to get started. I didn't see any more questions related to the credit portion of it. So again, you would usually go, work with Johvan and build your credit, and then you would get a pre-approval, work through a lender, which we'll talk with a lender a little bit here with Kim from Associated. But we'll go ahead, since we already have Johvan here on the line, we'll let him kind of talk more about searching for a home, working with a real estate agent in the home buying process.
Okay. All right. Johvan Holmes again, part 2. Real estate. Let's see. I'm going to pull up my next slide. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. As you're pulling that up, do you want to drop your phone number again? That was somebody requested that as well.
My phone number, you can reach me at 414-213-1278.
Appreciate it.
You can check out my Facebook business page. It's my first name, Johvan's Real Estate Credit Solutions. You can reach me through that page as well, or you can reach me on my Facebook page, Johvan Holmes. I'm very accessible, very easy, to reach. Even if I don't respond right away, I will respond. There's just so many different ways that you can reach me. I try to track and talk to as many people as I can. My goal is pretty much just to educate you. I mean, I ain't gonna hurt you. I'm gonna help you. And if I can't help you, I ain't gonna hurt you. I'll let you go. I try to give you as much value as I can. So I put up in front of me the process of of buying a home. After you increase your credit score, the main thing when people come to me and they talking about increasing their credit score is buying a house. What you want to understand is how important it is, like I said earlier when we first started, is to have the right people behind you. Okay. With the home buying process, it really starts with finding the right real estate agent. And you can choose to work with me and I'll be glad to help you. But I understand it doesn't always work like that. So the first step you want to do when you're working or when you're thinking about buying a home is two things. Well, one thing in two parts. One, find you a real estate agent. Two, and these, can go either or, is find you a great lender. Now, Kim is an awesome lender. She don't even know, but I've talked with other agents who've talked about Kim, and she's done a great job with people. And so, I'm glad that she's on here. And Rick is a good guy as well. I actually heard about Rick before I actually met Rick. So having good people, even just this webinar together, you got you a good solid team right here. So meeting your real estate agent is important because you have to have somebody that's knowledgeable about the market. A lot of times we look at things like Zillow, Realtor.com, we follow CNN, we follow all these different websites and stuff like that tell us things about the market. But understand that sometimes these are just journalists, right? And these journalists aren't realtors. These journalists aren't working in the fields. And then even when it comes to things like Zillow and Realtor.com, these are still just marketing companies. These are companies that just get paid to post houses for people and to sell ads so that when y'all see it, you can go and more agents can try to get more clients and stuff like that. So the information they might put out there may not necessarily be beneficial for you all the time. Or even if they do put the right information, they only put just a little bit. Whereas having a realtor on your side is going to be someone that has access to everything for you, or at least be able to get access. So that's the first thing. Find you a good agent, and then find you a good loan officer. Why do you want to find you a good loan officer? If you look at here, once you reach your agent, you want to do something. It's going to say, well, working with an agent, I'm going to determine your needs and desires, right? What type of house you want, in what area, things of that nature, right? Then I'm going to help you understand the buying process, how this thing works. But before we go out showing homes and looking at stuff, we need to determine your purchase power, right? And that's where the application for a mortgage or pre-approval comes in. That's where you will talk to someone like him. That's when you would get that financing. That's going to determine, whether or not we can afford a home in that area that you like, right? Maybe we can't afford a home in that area that you like, but maybe that home doesn't come with all the specifications that you wanted. So it's about, knowing our power, knowing our options, right? We got you, what do we call them? Your advisors, right? Your trusted advisors. That's what your realtor is going to be. That's what your loan officer is going to be. Your loan officer is pretty much going to go through all your finances. The realtor is going to look at the market for you and let you know, once you get pre-approved, hey, here's the best area for you. Or, hey, here's the area with the best schools. Here's the area with, in this home, there's this much, and you're about to see, the market go up. So it may increase in equity or whatnot. These are all the things that realtors can get to you. You say, hey, well, I seen some homes on Zillow. Your realtor might tell you, okay, send them over to me. Your realtor looks up those homes. They might not even be for sale anymore. They might have already sold. Some of them might have accepted offers on them, meaning they're already in the process of working with another buyer, possibly about to close sometime soon. But then you might have some that actually are available. And the thing is about that is you always want to cross-reference with your realtor. Right? When you see things on Zillow, you always want to cross-reference with your realtor, because maybe your realtor will have a resource for you that you could actually look at as well. So that's why it's important to have an agent that knows the market, that has the right information and stuff like that. But once we determine how much you're pre-approved for, that's when we can go preview homes. I typically say, hey, we need to preview homes or go look at homes that are within our price point. If you are approved for 150,000 and you want to go look at a house that's 200,000, well, you out of your league. Just for lack of better words, you're out of your league. People say, well, can I negotiate? Yes, you can negotiate. You can negotiate. But look at having that $150,000 pre-approval as if like you got a suitcase, right? And you might go to someone who's selling a house with $200,000, and you say, well, I got this pre-approval for 150 instead of 200, instead of, giving you your full 200,000. How about I give you 150? That's a $50,000 cut. Put yourself in that position. If you had something worth $200,000, would you take less? Take less, right? Would you take a $50,000 cut? And a lot of times, people say, well, you never know. You can see what happens. There's a possibility. Yeah, but then you got to play the odds in that. And if the odds are that it probably won't happen, then you're kind of going to be wasting your time. And it's a sense of, when you're talking about wasting your time, that could be your house, the perfect house for you within your price range that you missed out or you overlooked because you were out of your range. You were too busy somewhere else where you shouldn't have been, and you could have actually found your home. So that's why it's important to stay within your price range. Also is good too, because when you stay within your price range, lenders are going off of according what you can afford monthly, right? So when you are within your price range, looking at homes to buy a home within your price range, well, that money that you're going to be dishing out monthly is going to be better for you, right? The higher the purchase price, the higher the mortgage. So just stay within your price point, listen to your lenders, listen to your realtors, right? You're going to show homes. As a realtor myself, I typically ask for about 24 hours. Now, I can get us in a home quicker than that sometimes, but I would say 24 hours because sometimes people are living in these homes. Sometimes they have tenants in these homes. And then with COVID-19, there's actually people not even showing their homes that they got for sale because, they're afraid for everything that's going on. So you got to give time. Our realtor is really going to try to work hard to get you in as soon as possible. But once you do that, and let's say, you find a home of your dreams, right? You find a home that you say, this is it, I want to go. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to make an offer. Now, once you make this offer, you typically want to be educated, right? You want to be educated on how much you're going to, is this house going to be worth, right? Are you paying the right amount for this house? And in that offer is going to come with a list of contingencies. As if you follow down to the left of make of offer is contingencies. One is going to be a home inspection. Me personally, as an agent, I suggest all my clients get home inspections. Rick Francis with Foresight, he's hosting this webinar or this Zoom call. Perfect person to use as a home inspector. Somebody that's going to go in there, look at that house. I always tell people they're going to check it from top to bottom, inside to out, front to back, and they're going to give you an ideal of the condition of your home. They're going to let you know what's going wrong with the house, what's going right with the house, the common maintenance things that need to be addressed. And these are all in the contingencies of that offer. So you have the price, right? And then when you put in the home inspection, that's a contingency. You got a home inspection. And then you have your financing contingency. This is where you go back to your lender. You say, hey, I found the home that I love. Rick did the inspection. Everything went great. Here's my paperwork. I need the financing. I need the cash. We got to close. Give that to your lender. Your lender does the numbers. Your lender makes sure it's going to work right for you financially, right? The lender wants to make sure that, hey, you're going to be buying this house, but we want to make sure the numbers work. We want to make sure that monthly you can afford these payments. We want to know that, you're in a good position and that the house is worth it, right? They're going to do appraisals. and they're going to make sure that you are actually buying a house and that is worth it. The bank will give you what you're asking for if the house appraises out at that matter. There's other contingencies that are involved within the offer process as well. If you're a first time home buyer, a lot of those probably won't account, matter to you, or actually even just have anything to do with you, like, home sale contingencies and things like that. Because if you're buying your first home, you don't have to do it. But what I like to always tell people is that when you are putting in an offer, negotiating is not just about price. It's also about the contingencies and the things that you can get, like home warranties. Maybe you can get seller concessions, and seller concessions can be used to help carry money over the closing costs. Now, I've dealt with a lot of people who say, hey, I heard about closing costs. Can I get the seller to pay closing costs? And that's an opportunity. It's a chance. It's there. But when we talk about negotiating, I can't say that it's going to be a definite. You can try to come and say, well, I only want the seller to pay closing costs. And who knows how much those closing costs can be. You would have to get the number from your lender, but that's the reason why it may not necessarily be 100% go. Maybe your closing cost is $5,000. Maybe your closing cost is $7,000. Maybe it's $10,000. Maybe it's only $2,000. I don't know. But the thing is, when you're negotiating, you can include all of those numbers. Your agent will be able to help you calculate those numbers. Your loan officer will be able to calculate all those numbers so that you can submit the strongest offer that you can. And once you submit that offer, it's going to be three things that happen. One is either going to get accepted. Two is either going to get countered, right? They're going to, come back at you with a different price or different terms or whatnot. Or three is going to get rejected. There's a different number of reasons why it can get rejected. Maybe they got it. Maybe they accepted another offer. Maybe they just looked at your offer and just decided no. Maybe it just wasn't strong enough. There's different reasons why, but don't get discouraged, because I've dealt with people who want to buy homes, and they think they found the home for them, and then they found out that they were outbid on a property, or that the seller just rejected, or whatever may have happened. They just didn't get the offer accepted. No worries. Like, this is a market. It's to be another chance. It's going to come back around. I recently just had a closing last week with a client who had literally been searching for a home for over 2 years. And the type of home that she was looking for was a very, very, very coveted home. And it's times we ran into serious competition. And, there was times we went over asking price in our offer, and someone bid it higher than us. That's just the market. That's just the market, right? That's just it. But don't get discouraged, because this is a part of the process. But let's say all things go well. You put in the perfect offer, you get your offer accepted. The next thing is, like I said, moving on to the home inspection, moving over to financing, getting your appraisal done and things like that. Once you have your financing, you'll get something called loan commitment. Loan commitment is your okay, you'll go ahead. Kim says, look, you know what? Everything in the house turned out right, and the inspection went good, the appraisal went good. You can't afford the home. We're going to give you this money to purchase this home. Now you got your pre-approval. After that, you're going to make sure title clears. You're going to make sure that you got your home insurance in place. You're going to make sure that, you're going to do a final walkthrough. You're going to make sure that, the house, nothing has changed since you bought it, or since everything. You got to get your utilities and all that stuff together. One thing you're not going to do is you're not going to go out and finance another car. One thing you're not going to do is you're not going to go finance furniture before you close. And this is important because, understand, like I said earlier, on the credit portion, lenders look at something called DTI. And so just because your mortgage comes back approved and they say, hey, we're going to give you this money and we're going to set closing date, we're going to make sure title is clear, we're going to get your home insurance in place, we're going to get your home warranty together, seller agreed to help pay some closing costs. You have to wait till after closing to go and accumulate any other debt. Don't go maxing out credit cards. Don't go applying for furniture. Don't go applying for new cars until after the day you close, if that's what you choose to do. This will affect your DTI heavily and could actually cause you to not get the loan and not be able to close on the house. Now, I haven't had this happen to me personally, but I have heard horror stories. I can't say why they did it. I don't know if their agent didn't tell them or what. I don't know what happened, but I'm telling you right now, if you get this far in the process, you got loan commitment, you got your insurance and stuff set up, you're about to hit the closing. Don't touch any type of financing. Don't go applying for anything else until after you close. Again, after that, your title clears, all that stuff comes together. You set your closing date. The closing date comes, and bam, like you get your keys at closing day. You're going to sign a lot of paper. You're going to feel like you're signing over your life, but it's okay, because you got your new home. And that's pretty much it for the home buying process. Rick, is there any questions on there?
I didn't get anything here. And I think a key element, and I think it's something that's important to point to, and I guess maybe even to talk over a little bit, is that everybody's situation is different. So where you had a client that it took 2 years to find the house that was the perfect fit, some people it's faster than that. But again, some people may have other circumstances where there may be other situations, whether it's career change or family change, that might influence, how fast you move through that process. I guess typically between the credit building or restoring and the work you do for the credit and then buying a house, what are the 2 time frames on average that you would say is out there?
So yeah, first going back to what you said, everybody's situation is different. One client took 2 years. For one client, it only took 3 months. And that's because they went out, they were educated on what to do and what not to do. And they found the home that worked best for them, that they were in love with, got their offer accepted, moved over to closing. Once you get your offer accepted, it should only take 30 to 45 days. For some, it could take up to 60. But it should only take 30 to 45 days to get closed. And that's if everything goes perfect. That's for the home buying part of it. But when you're talking about buying a home, we talk about restoring your credit. It really depends on your profile. I think a lot of lenders like to see you, with at least 2 years of credit history before they apply you for, approve you for pre-approval or for a mortgage. And so the thing is, a lot of us have 2 years of credit history. It's just ain't a lot of good years of credit history. So once you can show that you are doing well, maybe you're able to fix that 2 years of credit history, and you can get rid of some of those negatives and you can add some positives, and they can offset that. And now you have 2 good years of history, of credit history, you can get approved. That can take anywhere between 3 to 6 months. For some, it might have to just start from scratch. It could take 2 years. But the thing is, the sooner the better. And you never know until you actually sit with a credit consultant. You never know until you actually sit with a loan officer. You never know until you actually sit with a realtor or someone like myself.
Yeah, and that's key, is to actually take those steps to utilize the resources. Johvan being one of the resources, is to reach out to them. Don't hesitate, because that's what they're here for. Johvan and Kim, both individuals who are presenting today, you don't have to be in a position to buy a house tomorrow. That's their job, to get you the information you need to get to that point. So you have to take the initiative to reach out to them to get things going. And I think one other thing, maybe you pointed on it, pointed or touch base on this, is that, and I know generally best practice in real estate is typically, as an agent, you aren't going to go look at houses until you have a pre-approval. And it's just to make sure that we're looking at houses that are in a good price range and, are a good fit financially, per se.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to get that pre-approval first. I've in the past, I've taken the time to show someone a house that they really love, right? And I kept telling them, got to get a pre-approval, and they still just wanted to go check it out. But they went to check it out, they fell in love with the house, they tried to rush and get a pre-approval. By the time the pre-approval came, the house was gone. So, it's important to do it, you got to take that jump. You got to take that leap. And when you got the resources, trust your trusted advisors.
Yeah, definitely. So did anybody have, before Johvan takes off, he has a showing that he was committed to. So he's going to take off in a little bit here. He might hang out a little while longer, but he's going to have to take off as Kim takes on the second portion of the seminar. Did anybody have any questions for Johvan before he takes off? Give me a second when you're ready to look to. So somebody had a question in regards to applying for a loan, and I think Kim will be able to touch on this a little bit more. You know, this person already has relationships with some lenders now. She doesn't necessarily want several banks pulling the credit. And so I think that Kim, I think that's a perfect transition into Kim taking over and running with the meeting from here, the seminar. We'll kind of let Johvan go for now. Johvan, do you want to drop your phone number, your website, all your contact information again before we let you go?
Yeah, my name is Johvan Holmes, Johvon. I can be reached at 414-213-1278. You can also find me at Facebook, right my name, Johvan Holmes, JOHVON HOLMES. Or you can contact me on my business page, Johvan's Real Estate and Credit Solutions. Website, I guess, if you want to find me, another way to find me is to go to my First Weber website. First name, last name, JovonHolmes.firstweber.com. You know, you can go ahead and hit the contact information, the contact agent, everything on there, put me in there, and I so many ways you can reach me. But if you want to reach me through Facebook, if you want to reach me on my phone number, 414-213-1278, I'll respond to it any way you send it.
All right. Well, thanks for all the information. Again, everybody feel free to reach out to him, use him as a resource. Johvan spoke many times about having a good team and utilizing them as a resource. So again, feel free to reach out to him directly. Thanks, Johvan.
It's a pleasure. I'm gonna stick around for a little while, about 12:30, then I gotta head out.
Okay, cool. Kim, are you still around?
Yes, I'm right here.
Awesome. There you go. Did you get everything booted back up?
Yes, actually I did.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
Good. So a little bit of a reintroduction for people who are joining a little bit later. Johvan was just speaking. Again, he works with helping restore and build credit and the real estate agent. And then we also have Kim on the line with Associated Bank. Again, Kim is a person, I've done a number of first-time home buyer seminars with her, and I love her because she wants to get information out to people. She also understands the element of being a first-time home buyer and putting things in terms that you understand. And she has information on grant money, which we all want to hear about. So Kim, I'll let you take over from here. Did you catch that question that somebody had about financing? You know, somebody said they don't want their credit pulled a bunch of times and they should work with their lender. And I'm
Right.
sure you're going to touch base on some of that stuff, right?
Absolutely. That actually applying with another lender should not affect you as long as it's within the same 30-day period. It shouldn't affect you greatly, maybe a point if any, because what you want to do is actually you want to make sure that you know all the options that are available to you so that you can get the best program for yourself. So in order for a lender to actually be able to give you accurate information, they have to see your credit report. I get a lot of calls and one of the things they ask most often is, so is this a hard pull or a soft pull? We do a hard pull because we have to see your actual scores, and that is going to help us make the decision and get you into the best program that fits your needs. So don't be afraid to look and have one or maybe two, if necessary, other lenders pull your credit. But what you can ask them for, if you want to know the best program, you just ask them, what do they have available to you? What kinds of loans they have available? If you like what you hear, then you say, okay, go for it, my credit. And that's when they can get started to help you get a pre-approval. All right. So with that, I'm going to kind of step back a little bit and let me see if I can do this properly and share my screen with you. So we want to talk about home buying and why it's best, why buying versus renting is a better for you. And of course, it's going to be one of the biggest purchases, the biggest investments that you make in your lifetime, initially. So you want to make sure that you know everything that it entails, but also how it benefits you. homes increase in value over time, and that is an asset for you. Rent also increases over time, but you don't get any of that back when you move out. The only thing you get back is your deposit, right? Your security deposit, and that's a hopefully they give you your money back. So you can build ownership interest in your home. So as you pay for your home over time and the years, you're building what's called equity, and that equity can be used in the future to help you make improvements to your home, maybe pay off some debt, maybe pay for some college for your children in the future. So it's really a great investment. And the interest that you pay on your home is typically tax deductible. You want to actually refer with the person that you use that prepares your taxes, but it's usually tax deductible, and you have control of your property. You can do what you want to do. If you want to repaint, if you want to change the carpet, if you want to get some new appliances, it's your place and you can do what you want with it, right? Landlord's not going to necessarily let you come in and paint their home. Some of them don't even want you to hang pictures or put holes in the walls, little things like that. So it'll be your property. You don't have to worry about that. So one of the things I have my clients when we're starting to make the big decision, you got to choose your mind. You have to know what type of home you want to buy. I always tell my clients, start your checklist, the must-haves, and I can live with it and I can live without it, so that you make options available with yourself. You don't want to restrict yourself so much that I have to have this, I have to have that, so many of those things, and you're not able to find a place because you've got too many things on your checklist that necessarily what you have to have. So start creating that list, and again, find out the options that are out there and available to you. So when I talk about type of home, do you want a new home? Like, do you want to build a home from the ground up? Or do you want a resale home, which is a house that's still nice? Somebody's had an owner already. So that's called a resale home. Or maybe you want a fixer-upper. You want to be able to, your budget isn't really high, so you're okay to buy a fixer-upper and be able to make those changes and renovations to that property afterward. You want to know how many bedrooms are in your home, how many bathrooms, the number of garage. So the neighborhood that you want to live in, community, right? So sorry about that. One of the things we have to look at is you have to look at, are you ready to buy? Do you have stable income? Because when you come to me to talk about, or any other lenders to talk about getting pre-approval, you want to make sure that you have a steady 2-year work history. Okay, you have steady income. Is it retirement benefits that you're getting, or Social Security? Is it steady? Do you pay your bills on time? Very crucial. What kind of debt do you have out there? Low debt or a lot of debt? Right? Down payment that's available to you. So how much money will you have to be able to put down? Do you qualify for any grants or loans? Are you going to need assistance? And do you have the ability to pay a mortgage? Okay. So usually this part of the presentation, I usually like to be interactive, and it's kind of going to be awkward doing this without the whiteboard to be able to write. One of the things we have to do when you sit down with a lender, you need to figure out how much home you can afford, right? So what do we use to determine that? We're going to be determining your maximum mortgage amount. We look at your credit history. Do that. We look at your cash flow, how much cash you have available, down payment and closing costs. Again, your income and your existing debt. Your maximum mortgage amount plus your planned down payment, that's going to equal the total price of your total purchase price of your home. So typically, on average, they're called debt to income ratio, right? We look at your income versus your debt, and we do the math and come up with the ratios. Typically, a lender wants you to have a 29% housing ratio. So what that means is your house payment can't equal more than 29% of your gross monthly income. And that's what we're looking at, not your net income, but your gross monthly income, right? And then they want your total debt to income ratio to only be like 41%. So that means your house payment plus the car payment, credit cards, student loans, whatever, those things can only be 41%. But then there's also some special programs that you can look at. Also, lenders may have a special program for you to look at. Now, Rick, I don't know if you can help me out here. You don't happen to have a little whiteboard or anything like that? Write the numbers down.
I believe when you go to share, you would be you kind of got to jump between either the whiteboard or
the screen.
Yeah, because it does give you the option for a whiteboard. But I mean, everybody listening, I will hope they have some type of pen or note so they could probably go along as well. But I could write some stuff down if you want as well.
So what I want you to do, because I like to do an example of what I do when I sit down with my clients. This is what your lender, whether you use me or someone else, this is what your lender should be doing with you to help you find out how much you qualify. Okay, so say you make $3,500 gross, $3,500 a month, right?
So that's before taxes, right?
Yes, that's before taxes.
$3,500
a month, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to take that $3,500 a month. I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to use one of the programs that I have that I really like, that we offer, that allows people to get a little bit more home. So I look at that loan and I say, okay, of that $3,500 gross monthly, your housing payment can't be more than 37%. So we actually let you get a little bit more, right? So take that 37%, and so $1,295 we know is the maximum housing ratio.
So if you're bringing in $3,500 a month gross, the mortgage can't be more than $1,295, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Then, for that $3,500 a month, when we look at your total debt, so that's going to be that $1,295 plus any other debt that you have, it cannot exceed 47% of your income, right? Which equates to $1,645 total. Okay.
Yeah.
So look at that and say, okay, I have my base figures here. Now, what I'm going to look at for you, for my client, what I'm going to do then is look at their current monthly debt. So say you have a car payment, and that car payment is $300. So look at that, $100. Make this really simple for us. And then I look at credit cards. So say you're paying about $60 a month in credit cards, right? And maybe you have a student loan, just one, it'd be nice, just one, and that payment is $150.
You said 150?
$150.
Okay.
And maybe you have installment loan, well, small personal installment loan. That's $150 as well. Okay, so we look at all those numbers, we add those up. And I said, okay, you're already paying $660 out monthly.
Yep, so that the 660 is the car payment, credit card, small loans.
Student loan.
Student loans.
Yep, both. Okay, so you've got $660 that you're paying out currently right now in debt. So what I have to do is I have to take that $1,645 And I have to subtract that 660. Right? Hope you guys are following along and writing this down because it's really going to help you. So you subtract the 660 from the 1645, and you get 985. So what that means is your total mortgage payment cannot exceed $985 a month, right? All right. Don't get discouraged though. You can buy a lot of house with that.
Yeah, that's
So,
not bad at all.
right. So what I then have to do is I have to look at what are the average taxes, for a home.
Mm-hmm.
So say they're about $3,000. Okay. And so $3,000, I take $3,000, which they charge annually, and divide that by 12 months because that's what we have to include that in your mortgage payment. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I subtract that $300, right, from there. And then you're going to ask, and these are called escrows. So then you're going to actually have to have homeowners insurance, and we escrow that as well for you. So your homeowners, it equates to about $65 a month, $720 a year annually. I take those two figures, I subtract it from 985 to $65. I get $620. And of that, so what that means is your $620 has to be what your principal and interest amount to. Okay, and that's your loan amount by over 30 years, a certain interest rate. Right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say, well, the interest rate yesterday was 3.625. Okay. So is everybody there? Rick, are you still there? Right. So I hope everybody can still hear me, see me. Somebody say something to me here on Facebook. Hi, Miss Addie. You guys still hear me? Ron, can you still hear me? Okay. So $620, right? So I have a nifty tool here. It's a real estate calculator. So try to do it on your calculator because it won't work, right? So I take that $620 and I say, okay, that's your principal and interest payment. I put that number in. We know that your mortgage is going to be for 30 years. Take that, put that in there, and the interest rate is at 3.625%. Sorry, excuse me. So that means your maximum loan amount is $142,461, right? So see that $900 a month can get you a nice house, right? So in order to find out how much your purchase price is, well, I know that the loan program that I just presented to you, the down payment is 3%. So that means that this $142,000 and $461 is 97% of the maximum purchase price. So I just divide it by 97%. That will give me your maximum purchase price of $146,000, $6,860 roughly. Okay, that's a nice house that you can buy for that amount. Okay, but you guys, if you have any questions later, I can actually, excuse me, go over that with you. If you have any questions, I'll answer questions for you after that, after the presentation. Okay. So Why is it important to be pre-approved before you go shopping for a house? There's nothing more heart-wrenching than someone going out and looking at a lot of houses and finding one that they fall in love with and then find out that it is not in their budget. So it's always best to know what you can afford before you begin shopping. When you have a pre-approval, it shows the seller that you're a serious buyer. You're serious about home buying, just not out walking around looking at people's houses. You can actually make an offer sooner. So I believe Johvan or Rick may have mentioned before how you go see a house and you want to make an offer, but you don't have a pre-approval letter, and somebody else comes in behind you, they have one, they can make the offer and get the house before you even get an opportunity to start the process. And then it helps you learn more about the home buying process when you get pre-approved. It helps you learn more about it, right? So what are the documents that I would need or your lender's going to need when you come to be pre-approved? Right now we're doing things virtually, right? So we're going to need, and some of these figures are older, so we're going to need your most recent 30 days pay stub. Okay, so if you get paid weekly, I need 4. If you get paid bi-weekly, 2. I say 3. If you get paid bi-monthly on the 15th and the 30th, then you only need 2. Okay, we look at so say you don't work, but you have retirement benefits or you get Social Security disability, we need your most recent Social Security or pension or retirement award letter, right? And we need at least 2 months of history showing that you received that money. We are going to be looking at your W-2 forms for the most recent 2 years, your most recent 2 years federal income tax returns, not state, just the federal. We look at a list of the other long-term debt that you may have. We need 60 days bank statements, so 2 months of bank statements, recent months of bank statement, so we can look and see where your down payment money is, or if you have some reserves or extra money. So then that's reserves are what you have after you buy the house, the money you have left to use in case of an emergency, be able to make your mortgage payment. Any proof of any additional income. Okay, so say you have like child support, we like 6 months payment history from the child support and the child support order. Okay, which is down below. It talks about alimony, child support, separate spousal maintenance. We need that income.
Hey, Kim, can I ask you a question real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, so, for your pre-approval, these are different things people need. Their pay stubs, income forms, and whatnot. I guess, how is the COVID virus and people's incomes that have been affected? How is that affecting the pre-approval process, or is there something different you look for or need for this period?
That is a great question. Great question. So each lender does things differently, and excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Each lender does things differently. So I can only speak to the changes that we made or what we are allowing during the COVID virus. Okay. So we're not meeting face to face, so I can apply online for me and put their documents in there. But say you are furloughed and but you're receiving employment, right? Mm-hmm. So you can still apply for a mortgage if you have a return to work date. If you have an actual return to work date, you can be qualified based off of the funds that you were being paid, your actual real income. You can be approved off of that income, as long as your first mortgage payment isn't due before you go back to work.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep. Thank you.
If it's due after you go back to work, then we actually can use your furlough income. That will determine how much home you can afford.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. So you can still do it. If you still have a job and your company says, yes, when this is all over and once it's resolved, they have a job to come back to. That's the thing we verify, that you are still employed and not fired.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have employment, then no, you can't. But if you do, you're just waiting to be able to go back to work. Absolutely. I have a couple of customers in that situation right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So how important is your credit? Your credit is everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
History of paying your bills on time indicates that you are more likely to pay your mortgage payment on time, right? So it won't cause you to get in any trouble. Your credit score, the FICO score that Johvan was talking about, be a factor in also what kind of mortgage program you qualify for. Also the down payment that you have to put down and the interest rate that you get for that loan, okay? And also the amount of that you can qualify for. If your score is too low, it might restrict you as far as debt to income ratio, how much you can actually buy, right? So we also recommend that you get a copy of your credit report. At least take a look at your credit scores so that you can know where you are financially and with your credit scores, see if you qualify before I pull your credit. And that's one thing that I like to do, is I like to make sure my clients have that information. So I also personally use myfico.com to watch my credit and make sure everything is going well with it. And I have my clients do that too. You know, go on, maybe a fee, a nominal fee, or go to the free annual credit report, but at least go look and see where you are so that you can know if you meet our credit score guidelines. So for me, the 620. If you have a 620 credit score, then we can look, you can qualify for a mortgage, right? So you want to make sure that you know that. So once you take a look at your credit, maybe I pull your credit and I get it, we know at that point I'm able to establish if you're established or if you need to improve your credit, right? So I think I heard a question someone had about them closing their credit card because they didn't utilize it.
Yeah.
Did someone say that? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a misnomer out there that is, you should always have a zero balance. And again, that is exactly that, a misnomer. A credit, the bureaus, the repositories can't establish whether or not you have a good payment history or are able to pay responsibly on time every month if you pay it off. They can't see the history. So what you want to do is use it for small purchases, right? Use it for small purchases and then make the minimum monthly payment a few months in a row. That will show good payment history. That's what helps establish your credit right there. So the only thing that's true is that you don't want to ever have a balance that is more than 30% of your credit limit. Okay. So if you've got a $300 credit card limit, you don't want your balance to be more than $90 every month, running every month. And if you could be a little lower, then that's good, but just use it. Buy your gas. I tell my clients, buy your gas, pay a little bit on it every month, right? So that way you're using it, and they don't close it, and it establishes history for you. And because it's really hard on your credit score when a credit grantor closes it. Don't you close it, because it will affect you. It'll hurt your credit score by closing a credit card, but it'll affect you tremendously if that creditor shuts that card off. That can hit you 100 points at one time. It's really hard on you. Okay?
You said 100. You said 100 points.
Up to 100 points, yes, sir.
For closing the credit card.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. For having it closed by not you, but for the Best Buy to shut your credit card off.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not going to say whether you may have had good credit history, but or but because you maybe you stopped using it because you didn't want it. Yeah, I don't feel like using it. You went so long without using it that they shut it off. Man, people won't. The creditor bureaus don't know if that was because of delinquency or that you just weren't using the credit card that much.
I got a credit card right now. I ain't using about a year and a half. I'm gonna have to.
I'm gonna need you to use that credit card.
I'm gonna have to go put some car parts
Mr.
on.
700.
No, it was 800.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Mr. 800. You better use it before it is a Mr. 700.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I'm be calling Johvan in a little bit to get it off my credit report.
So, how much do I need to put down? How much do you need to put down for your down payment? There are, in today's market, there are flexible mortgage programs that allow you to put as little as 3% towards your down payment. So it helps that first-time home buyer who maybe hasn't saved up, got this big stack of cash sitting in their bank account just waiting to, put down on a home. So know that that's out there. And then some buyers may be eligible for down payment assistance. So I'll segue right into, well, before I do that, I'm going to talk about one of the programs that we have at Associated Bank that allows for down payment as low as 3%. And that is our care mortgage. That is a wonderful program. I love it. You've heard me talk about it before.
Yep.
Rick, and I use it as much as I can for my clients because it's really a great program to help you get into your first home. And you can actually use it to repeat buy. Well, so with care, all you have to have is a 640 credit score, no late payments or no more than one 30-day late payment in the past 24 months. All right. They say 1 in 30, but I just say 1 in 24 months because you want your history to be as clean as possible. That helps your chances of being pre-approved, right? So if you have that, then the down payment is only 3%, right? And that program is also, it will allow for what's called alternate credit. So say you don't have a credit score, you haven't established a credit yet, you have no score at all, we will actually take 4 items, we call that alternative credits, that are in your name that you pay every month. So one of those is going to be your rent. If you're a renter, it's going to be your rent, your We Energies or a utility bill, car insurance. You may not have a car loan, but you pay car insurance, right? Or renter's insurance, cable or cell bill. If you have at least 4, one of those must be rent, if you're a renter, with positive credit history for the past 12 months, on-time payments for the past 12 months, you can qualify for this loan.
And traditionally, rent wouldn't show up on your credit report unless the landlord's actually putting it on there. But you're saying with this program, if they got rent receipts per se,
not rent receipts, but if we do verification of rent with your employer, your landlord, with your landlord, and they completed, they say you haven't had any 30-day late payments. And that's what I mean by late payments, no payments over 30 days as the due date. So we'll take that and we'll use that. Or if you pay by check, which is what I strongly recommend, or electronically, automatically, just an ACH debit out of your account every month, we can use 12 months canceled checks or 12 months bank statements to verify that you paid your rent on time every month. Same thing, and then so you just give us a printout from your cell phone bills or from the insurance company or whatever to show those 12 months of history on time. Okay.
And that's just for your special program that you're offering.
Yes. That's for care, the care mortgage that we have.
Yep.
Right. Any questions so far?
You can address it at the end. Somebody mentioned that that they can't see all the slides. So maybe for people who would like some of the slides, I know we circled back around with Johvan and he gave his contact info. For Kim, maybe really quick, you could drop your contact info really quick here in the middle of.
Oh, sure.
People will go back and look at it live. Just give it out verbally, and then again on Facebook. She's tagged, Kim is tagged on Facebook. You can reach out to her and just reach out to her and say, hey, I'd like to get access to the presentation. Because there may be
Okay.
some pages she can't touch base on today just for the sake of time. But
Right.
again, I'm sure she'd be willing to share it for you
Yeah.
guys.
Absolutely. So we went over that. Okay. So I'm going to talk about a down payment assistance program. So there are grants available out there for you. We have one at Associated Bank. It's called our PATH grant. It's a $4,000 grant, and it is a true gift. So you don't have to live in the house a certain number of years, or you have to pay it back. You don't have to do any of that. We just use it as a gift to you, help you with your down payment and or your closing costs. The qualifications for that are it's based off of income or property address. So that's available. Right now, we work with Housing Resources, and Housing Resources has grants called a Hickory grant. They still have some available. Typically, when they have a full funding, you get up to $10,000 from that grant if you meet the guidelines for that grant for them. But right now, I know they're getting low on funds, so they're giving maybe a couple of thousand, $2,500 to $3,000 extra. It's a first come, first served basis, so you got to have a purchase contract, but that's a great, another great grant to be able to have. And we can couple that, right? We can stack that along with our grant. So think if they give you $2,500 and we give you $4,000, that's $6,000, that's $6,500.
And now with that Hickory, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way the Hickory grant works is they have a certain amount of money that's allocated every year.
Right.
And then as the spring and summer goes on, that fund kind of dries out, and then essentially it's not available again until the next February, March, or whatever.
Exactly. So that's the downfall, is that people, you got to be on it, you got to be ready to go, because it does deplete quickly. Now that does have some limitations on it. You have to be there for 3 years and things like that, but not 3. But as long as you meet those guidelines for them, you don't have to pay it back. Right. And then there's another grant. It's gone for our area already. So I tell my clients, winter is not a bad time to buy a home, because there's another grant that's available out there. It's called the Federal Home Loan Bank Down Payment Assistance Grant. And it's based off of county. We have used all of ours for Milwaukee County already, but you can get $6,000 with that grant.
Yeah. And again, that's why it's important, again, I usually tell people who ask me about it, winter is a good time to get ready. But even right now during the quarantine, to start working on things.
Yes, because
I think I've heard you say this, Kim. Maybe I stole this from you. Maybe I stole it from somebody else, but it's be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Get ready, right. You always have to be ready so you don't have to get ready, because those funds replenish around the middle January sometimes for us. We get our allotment of that money around that time. And when I tell you it goes fast, really, really fast. And so with that grant, you qualify for that down payment assistance program. If you qualify for my $4,000, what we do is we don't do the $6,000, but we will give you $3,000 of that to couple with our grant. You'll have $7,000 put down towards the purchase of your home. Okay. So that's that. Now I want to talk about closing costs. Okay. What they are. Typically they're about, I would say 3 to 5%. It can be less, actually, 2.5 to 4% of the purchase price, depending on the purchase price of a home, right? So that's the fee. You have escrow fees. Again, that's your property taxes and homeowner insurance that we have to escrow. PMI, if there's PMI on the loan. Loan origination fee. Now, some lenders charge a loan origination fee, so you'll have to pay that. But we do not. We don't charge that associated, but you want to look for that. You got to pay fees to record the mortgage and the documentation prep fees. If you need a survey, you have to pay the survey fee. Maybe an appraisal fee. Maybe an appraisal fee. Your homeowner's insurance and the mortgage insurance, which I touched on, and title insurance, and then loan discount points. Those could all be a part of the fees for the down payment, fees for the closing costs. Now, I don't know how many of y'all out there have heard of points. What does points mean? What are points? Well, points are what you pay to buy down your interest rate. It'd be called loan discount point. And point is typically 1%, equals 1% of the loan amount. Okay? And so when you buy down the points, you can lower your interest rate. But you have to weigh the options of whether it's a benefit to you or not. How long is it going to take you to recoup that money? Okay? So what your mortgage payment consists of, what's all included in the mortgage payment, is going to include that principal and interest. It's going to include property taxes, homeowners insurance. And depending on the loan, it would include PMI, private mortgage insurance. And what that is quickly is what you pay the lender in case you default on the loan. You have to pay that monthly to protect the lender in case you default on your mortgage, right? So let's see where I want to go here. So you got, again, we talked about, skip that one, what kind of mortgage is right for you. But you do want to know if you want a mortgage that's not going to change every year, or if you're okay with a mortgage that adjusts after a certain period of time.
So like a fixed rate loan versus
fixed rate versus an adjustable rate mortgage.
Mhm.
So basically, the benefits of a fixed rate mortgage are just the payment's going to stay the same every year. The only thing that could change your payment would be if your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance increase. Other than that, principal and interest is going to stay the same every year. You can have 15-year or 30-year. There are 20-year out there as well. So it's predictable, right? Now, an adjustable rate mortgage is fixed for a certain number of years, and then it adjusts over after that last fixed period. And I like to think that this is for someone who's a great saver and a kind of financially savvy and can afford the risk and make enough money. So say you're going to school to be a nurse right now, but you're not a nurse yet, but you're so you got 5 years until you get to that day. So you could have an adjustable rate mortgage that has a fixed rate for 5 years. And the benefit of these mortgages is that the interest rate is lower, right? It's fixed for 5 years. Then after that 5th year, it's going to start adjusting depending on the certain index, how it is doing in the economy. If you know that by the 4th year, you'll have your degree or your nursing certificate and you're going to be making a lot more money, you don't care if in that first month or two it hits and you're adjusting, the rate is adjusting, because you know that you've got the higher income and you can refinance your mortgage to a fixed rate mortgage where it's fixed again for a certain number of years and never going to change, right? So that's about that one. I basically already touched on that. I want to get to questions if anybody has it. And Johvan went over how your what your seller, what your agent, your realtor does for you. Rick is the home inspector, the best home inspector ever. He saved my client from a really, really bad deal. He didn't even know it, but he's great at being able to pick out things that are going to help you not getting to a home that's gonna be a nightmare after you close on it. So what do you expect the application? So for me right now, I have a website that I have my clients go to, or when agents refer people to me, realtors refer people to me, have them go, they send their clients an email that has the link, apply online. So that's really what's happening over right now is online application because we're not seeing people face to face because of COVID. So go online, apply, upload your documents right to the online application. And then once I get it within 24 to 48 hours of looking at your application, I can determine what program you're going to qualify for, how much you're going to need down payment, estimation of where your closing costs are going to be. Okay. And once we have you pre-approved and you find your home, you get your signed offer, you go through the processing period. So these are the 4 steps that happen after that, after you apply. It goes through processing, decision making. This is when you have a property, right? You have your accepted offer, you go through processing, decision making, pre-closing. Pre-closing, you'll have your pre-closing walkthrough, then you go for your closing. And by the time you finish signing your paperwork, you have your home. You get the keys. All right? So I didn't want to go too much further because I've already gone over time. Any questions? Any questions?
Any questions from anybody? You could either comment on the chat on the Zoom.
Are they blurry? Somebody said the slides are blurry.
It could be.
I don't share the slides and
No,
have a printout because
to me they look clear. I'm watching it on Facebook Live as well. It looks clear. It could be. I'm going to give Jessica a hard time because she's a friend of mine. Maybe she needs to put her glasses on. But again, you can always reach out to Kim directly, and we'll have her.
You can go back to the live too, and
yeah. That's why I did it on live as well. And then eventually this will be on YouTube as well.
Right.
But somebody had a question about there was a federal home loan. What's the federal home loan called again?
Federal Home Loan Bank, the DPP, Down Payment Assistance Program.
Okay.
Right. And so I know that we don't have any more for Milwaukee County, but we still have funds available in Racine and Kenosha.
Okay.
Racine and Kenosha counties.
Okay. And somebody asked, how many lenders should you get in pre-approval from?
No, you shouldn't get a bunch of pre-approvals. You should interview lenders, right? And then listen to what programs they have available for you, and then decide which one you want to go with to get your pre-approval. Okay, it's not going to hurt you to have the credit pool price, but what I would say is don't go walking around presenting 2 pre-approvals from 2 different companies.
As a consumer, for me, I kind of give this story to people. When I bought my first house when I was 19, and then the second one when I was 20, I was having trouble finding the lender, and I went around to this is before the internet, before phones, and I would drive into all the different banks to try to meet with a lender, and I had a whole folder of what everybody would need, including I had a copy of my credit report. But
Right.
I wouldn't do an application or anything until I seen what products they had available, and I would talk to that person and see what options they have available. And then if I like something that they were offering, just the same way if you were buying a car per se or buying something else, then I would let them go through the whole application process. Now, I will say, I've been around a while. I know who's good, who's bad when it comes to real estate agents, when it comes to lenders. And there's a reason I have Kim on my seminar, and it's because she's one of the best. It's because she has some of the best options. Kim is very humble, but sure, have some conversations with your bank, whoever you bank with, but I'm sure you'll find that Kim will be one of the best resources for you. And again, she's one of the lenders who sometimes I've talked to lenders even recently where they have no clue in regards to what's going on with grant money, where it's available. And Kim is fully tuned in to what's available for grant money, how to get you that grant money. And that's what we all want, because a key element to that grant money is that I talked about this a couple of days ago on another live. Once you're no longer a first-time home buyer, you no longer qualify for first-time home buyer benefits, that grant money being one of those big benefits. So it's important that your first time around, you find a way to utilize some of that grant money. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kim.
No, you're absolutely correct, because where my program, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer, but you can't own 2 homes at the same time. So you can only use that the loan and get the grant or whatever, when you're doing the first, but the others, the DPP and the Hickory, you can't use those again once you're not a first-time home buyer. You have to be, the only time you can use them again is if you haven't owned a home. Say you have a home, had a home, you sold it, you went back to, something happened in life and you ended up renting again. You would have to be a renter or living with someone rent-free for 3 years before you qualify as a first-time home buyer again.
Thank
So,
you.
you're welcome.
Another question that was in the chat, and Johvan took off because he had to go to his listing, and you may be able to speak to it a little bit as well. But essentially, it sounds like this person, they must be married, and it's Wisconsin. So when you're married, you know, there's the co-ownership, whatever rule in the state of Wisconsin. And she said her husband recently applied to get an auto loan, and they checked her credit report without her knowing. And it dropped her credit score significantly. She didn't know he was applying for loans.
How, well, first of all, that shouldn't happen, period. If you're not there to give permission for your credit to be run, you have to sign an application giving consent for your credit to be run.
So it doesn't matter that they're married?
It does not matter that you're married, no.
Okay.
It just, it's still considered joint property, but he can't sign for her on a car loan application. She has to be there to sign for herself.
Sure.
She has to give her consent.
So then she probably needs to go through the process of just disputing it with the
Absolutely.
credit bureau.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure they'll be able to remove it because they're not going to have an application with her signature.
They don't have her, yeah, they won't have her signature.
Yeah.
They can't prove where you, show me where I applied. Show me where I signed on the line and where you took a copy of my photo ID.
So moving on to the next question, can you use the first-time homeowner grants to purchase duplexes or townhomes?
Yes, definitely townhomes, and you can use it to buy a 2-unit duplex. So yeah. Now, the only thing I will say, I'm glad they asked that question, because there are only the grants can only be used. My grant and the Hickory grant can only be used on conventional loans, right? The DPP grant can be used on conventional and or FHA loan, okay? So you have to be cognizant and aware of that. And that all goes into what you qualify for based off of your credit score.
Now, I know, again, I've seen your presentations a bunch of times. And so I know normally, I know you kind of went through things, you skipped over a couple pages just for the sake of time.
Right.
And again, Kim will make sure you guys have access to the full presentation if you reach out to her. But can you talk to down payments a little bit? You know, what the rates, you know, what type of money do people need to bring in for a down payment? You know, obviously it's different for an investment property versus owner occupied. Could you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. So first time homeowner owner occupied, 3% down, right? 3% down if you're qualifying for what the care grant, I mean the care loan that we have, or if you qualify for Home Ready loan, which is also another product that you could qualify for. Down payment is usually as low as 3% down. I will say that right now it looks like, because this isn't our loan, this is a Fannie Mae loan, that Fannie Mae is leaning more towards a 5% down payment right now. We're not, so I'm not really seeing on my automated approval in the desktop underwriting system, I'm not seeing an approval letter come, you know, come when I run it at 3%. So if you're buying a duplex, however, that's going to require much more money down. And so what I recommend is, if you still need a low down payment, you do the FHA loan, because an FHA loan is 3.5% down, whether you're buying a single family home, duplex, 3-unit or 4-unit. So It's just 3.5% down.
But that's all owner occupied, right?
All owner occupied. If you're
Oh.
trying to buy investment property, 25% down.
That's what I always tell people. You know, I have some people who want to jump into investments, and that there's a critical difference there. Again, it's important to utilize your first time home owner benefits and owner occupied benefits, because when you jump into an investment property,
Right.
they're going to want significantly more as a down payment. If you're buying a $200,000 4-family as an investment property,
Right.
they want 25% down, that's going to be $50,000 you got to come up with for a down payment. And there is no grant money to help you out
No,
with that.
there is no grant money for investment property.
Yep. Trust me, I unfortunately, I know. So
It is what it is.
yeah. Or they want to make sure that you're stable.
Absolutely.
You know, and when you're jumping over into investment properties, me and Kim talked about this a little bit earlier. And I think being stable and have the ability to manage the tenants, the finances, everything that comes along with being a landlord. So,
Right. Yeah. Lots.
Was there any other questions for Kim before she dips off? I don't understand what owner occupied benefits are. The owner wants to continue to live there after you sell, say it were a duplex. So I think what we're getting at here is that once you buy it, and maybe I misunderstood your question, but feel free to reiterate. Once you buy it, you are the owner, and then you become
Yes.
owner occupied. So you live in that home.
Right. That's what owner occupied means. That means you're buying the home. So another terminology is called your primary residence, right? It's your primary residence. It's not a property you're buying to rent out to anybody. So even if it's a duplex, you're going to live on one side and somebody else will live on the other side, but you live in the property.
And then I think the second half of the question, the owner wants to continue to live there after you sell it, if it were a duplex. So I think that kind of that question ran together, but there are some instances, and it may even be in a house that you're owning, it's not that you're buying, it's not a duplex, where that owner wants to stay in it in a little bit longer. And usually rent is exchanged for the time that they still spend there, or if they become your tenant, if it's a duplex, you know, once you move
Right.
there, and then you become a landlord, it's just a landlord-tenant relationship.
So that would be a part of your offer, right?
Yeah.
When you go to sell it to somebody else, say you're living in a duplex, but you don't want to own it anymore. You still want to live there, but you don't want to own it and be responsible for the mortgage and everything that comes into play.
Mhm.
So someone can buy it and you make that a part of the offer. Say, hey, I'm putting it up for sale, the contingency that I can stay in the home. Rent the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Any other questions for Kim here at all before Kim takes off? You got easy access to her right now.
So let me give you my contact information.
Mm-hmm.
My cell phone number is area code 708-983-9318. That's the best number to reach me on. If I don't answer because we're really extremely swamped right now, you can send me a text message, right? I'll see that before I start checking voicemails because it kind of gets hectic during the day, right? So then my email address is Kimberly, KIMBERLY .McCloud, MCCLOUD at associatedbank.com. And say you're ready. You want to see if you can buy your home. You're ready to apply. My website for the online application is www.associatedbank.com/pay McCloud, MCCLOUD, MCCLOUD. So I wish you well, whether you call or contact me for a pre-approval or to be your lender, or whoever else you choose to be your lender. We are still here for any questions that you may have. Say you're working with another lender and you're not quite sure about some of the information that that you're getting. If you need to ask me a question, I'm more than happy to help you, because my goal is to see more families and people become homeowners and acquire wealth, because that's, hey, that's the legacy that we can leave for our children, right? Home, home ownership, wealth building. So thank you so much for your time, Rick. I'm glad you had me on the virtual
Kim,
seminar today. It was my pleasure being here. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. You all be blessed. Have a great day.
thank you, Kim. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it
welcome.
a whole lot. So
No
everybody
problem.
who was here from beginning to end, you got to hear Johvan speak about building your credit, restoring your credit. You also got to hear him speak about the relationship and the process and working with a real estate agent. And then now you've got to hear Kim talk about the options available with lending and also the grant money, something that everybody asks about. Again, lean to your team. Lean to your team of resources. Those two will be great resources for you. I'll have some other things going in the future. Again, for those who don't know me, I am Rick Francis. I bought my first house at 19. I've owned and managed investment property in Milwaukee since. I have a real estate degree. I do have my own company, a building inspection company. It's the element of business that I'm involved with that I like to do. I like to spend the time to help people get educated in regards to what they're buying, what their investment is. The critical aspect to investing, you're buying a house, even if it's for even if it's your primary residence, it's still an investment, and a critical aspect to investing is risk management. And that's where I come in regards to managing the risk. So I go through, once you have an accepted offer with Johvan, once you found your house with Johvan, I go through and I make sure that there's nothing too outrageous going on. We're going to go through all the systems in the house, starting outside, climbing the roof, going through electrical panels, going through crawl spaces, running all of the water. Usually they're about 2 or 3 hours, and it's an opportunity for you to learn and get educated in regards to what you're buying. I've saved many people in situations that were either bad houses, and I've also been a resource to people who just needed to be educated in regards to what they were buying. When I first started, I didn't have anybody to give me guidance that knew what they were talking about per se, and I bought houses with a lot of problems, and it costed me a lot of money over time. I am the best, and again, I enjoy real estate, and the piece that I enjoy the most is being a home inspector. We spent a lot of time here, so I won't dwell a whole lot on what I do as a home inspector. You can check out my website at foresightwi.com, the number 4, SITEWI.com. You can also add me on Facebook at Rick Francis, LinkedIn, Rick Francis as well. And then also my company has a Facebook page, Foresight Building Inspections LLC. You are attending my seminar, would hope that you are going to work with me, but utilize me as a resource if you have any questions, especially in regards to the condition of the home. My personal cell phone number is 414-460-4564. I'm going to be putting out more information. I'm going to be doing a live inspection next week, so you could join in and see what that process is like. Any questions about the inspection process at all for anybody? Again, I know you guys have taken in a lot, and really I kind of come in on the back end after you've gotten your finances together and after you've gotten your pre-approval together. I come in on the back end and go through that home and evaluate what problems can exist. And there have been life-saving problems that I found. I found recently a heat exchanger in a furnace that was giving off carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is odorless, it's colorless. And we found out that the individual who was selling, the family who was selling the house, the older guy who stayed there passed away in his sleep, and they didn't know why. And it was probably because of this furnace that gave off heat just fine, but it was dumping carbon monoxide in the house. And fortunately, I was the one to find it out. One of the questions, have you found a lot of hidden mold in walls while inspecting houses? All right. So now when it comes to mold, number one, for something to be defined as mold, it would technically have to be tested. Mold is a bacterial growth. Mold is all around us, everywhere. You go outside, you're breathing in a variation of mold. All right. The concern with mold is there a variation of mold that's that causes a health issue. The place that I usually find the biggest issues with mold is in the attics, because a lot of people don't understand how ventilation works. Ventilation should work in a way where air comes in from the bottom through soffit vents and then leaves out at the top through a roof pan or ridge vent. And what typically happens is warm, moist air from the living space makes its way into the attic. Your attic, again, is designed to maintain a temperature similar to the temperature on the exterior of the house. So if your warm, moist air from all of your showers is making its way into the attic, it gets trapped up there and it can cause mildew, mold issues. Again, the attic is the #1 place that I've seen mold issues. Moisture wants to go to where it's cold. So when you take a shower and you open that bathroom door and all of, maybe you've generated almost a gallon of humidity, a gallon of water and humidity air, and you open up that bathroom door and you have that attic access hatch right outside that bathroom, that warm, moist air makes its way into the attic via that access hatch, a lot of times not being sealed properly. And again, that moisture gets trapped in the attic, and that's usually where I find mold. Sometimes I find a little bit in the basement due to moisture. When I talk about basements, we're not just concerned with moisture penetration. We're also concerned with how heavily saturated the soils get around the house and the pressure that gets applied to foundation walls. If we can find a way to move the water away from the house, we never have to worry about water getting into the house and causing foundation issues or water or mold issues. So that comes down to your grading on the outside of the house, the way the land slopes around the house, your downspouts, your gutters, things like that. Any other questions for you guys at all in regards to the inspection process? Anything in general? Again, I'm not the guru. Kim's the guru of financing. Johvan's the guru of credit repair. And again, there'll be a resource for you going forward. But was there any other questions that you guys had before we take off? So again, thank you, Johvan. Thank you, Kim, for being out. He didn't ask for this, but I'm going to do it anyways, just because he's been a resource to me as I've worked on building out some of my marketing. I'm doing a lot of things that a lot of home inspectors aren't doing. I'm going to be essentially the next generation of the best home inspectors that are out there, in the same way that Johvan's going to be is leading the way in the next generation of real estate agents, and Kim is leading the way in the next generation of lenders. It's going to be around for a long time. A resource to me, and I'm also a sponsor for this, is going to be the Hump Day Wind Down live radio show hosted by DJ Heathen. He pretty much said, hey, don't worry about shouting me out, but I'm going to shout him out because he's been a resource in helping me put together this seminar. I'm also going to be a guest host this week, and we're going to also premiere a live short video, per se, that I'm going to send out to everybody. We're going to show. It's kind of a short video or short movie about the inspection process. It's funny. It's pretty entertaining. Probably about 6 minutes long. If you haven't been on my social media, there's a short version that's out there. Let's see if maybe I can pull it up real quick as you guys leave out. Let me share. Let me see if it's showing on the live. Since it is my seminar, I guess I can do it and I can play around a little bit. On this one. Well, anyways, again, feel free to follow me on all social media platforms, Rick Francis. Feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any questions, 414-460-4564. And then again, further, reach out to Kim, reach out to Johvan. Don't lean just on me because I'm the home inspector. I know a whole lot, but Kim and Johvan knows financing. They know credit. They know credit building. And again, right now is going to be the best time to start to get things together in regards to your credit, in regards to coming up with a pre-approval. Did we have another question we may have missed? I don't know if this probably won't play the sound. But again, this will be We'll play the long version of this on Wednesday with DJ Heathen Live. Just some different marketing we're doing. And hopefully, social media, I'll be able to put information that'll be educational on an ongoing basis per se. So again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks for joining us, and everybody have a great day.